There you see the 30-second card up. It's sideways. They'll have a minimum of 5 seconds before that gate goes. Carmichael sandwiched between Ezra Lusk and Travis Pastrana.
Better than 45,000 on hand as they are racing here in the 250 main event. The race for the Michael Byrne. Michael Byrne able to get the power 8-hole shot. There he is, the youngster from Queensland, Australia.
And right behind him, Vuillemin from France. It's already on Mike Brown, number 3. Not the best start for Carmichael. That's the first time he hasn't got a hole shot that I can remember. Especially since he's been on the Honda. A much worse start, though, for Jeremy McGrath.
Ago, he had a great year. He had 4 wins in the 250 class, but he was out much of last season.
This is getting tight. Carmichael is going to change the complexion of this battle up front. Those guys can feel his presence.
There goes Ricky Carmichael, RC into second place. Third of last year, always seems to be in the top 3.
LaRacco is on the move. He's the fastest rider on the track. He turned a faster lap time than Carmichael that time by a second.
He won one of the qualifying heats. Number 12. Vuillemin from France is out with a rib injury. It's Carmichael is ahead of LaRacco now.
Little bobble from Ricky. Got a little out of shape. Here comes LaRacco.
They go high into the air. Carmichael ahead.
And that's going to tighten up. Vuillemin's going to feel that in a moment. If Ricky doesn't win on this Honda, he might feel like he should. That's extra pressure, and it wouldn't make Honda look good if they grabbed a hold of Carmichael, who just dominated last year, and they still couldn't win. It's got to be in the back of his mind. Oh, I think if LaRacco were on a different color bike, of course, McGrath, the defending champion.
Just getting out.
He's stunned. Obviously hit his head. The visor's gone. LaRacco had nowhere to go. Had nowhere to go. He actually came through that pretty lucky, though. Watch Ricky's head. Oh, I hate to see that. LaRacco was actually a little bit lucky the way he just sort of stayed on the top of all that, floated through it, but Ricky took a tremendous impact.
He rode right over his right ankle. Number 12 from France. He continues to lead, but good news here. Just moments ago, Ricky Carmichael was able to get up off the track and walk off the track under his own power.
Travis has a problem with the front disc on his bike. Unlike Carmichael, he is not injured. The Pastrana's night almost going as bad as Carmichael's.
All right, Davey, so the 18-year-old who won the title in the East last year, the 125, moving up, raced a little bit in the 250 last year, but mainly in the 125, so his season does not start the way he wanted it to. 14 races in the 250 class. Carmichael had dominated, won 14 of 16 last year, including 13 in a row, but it's David Vuillemin who captures the checkered flag in the season opener here in Anaheim. Moving up to the 250 class. A great finish for him and a great start to this year.
And a great ride by Ezra Lusk. His first ride on a Kawasaki, finishes out in 5th.
David, it looks like the Cobra of 2000 is back. What a fantastic ride here at the opening night of the season.
Yeah, I rode really good, and I led the first few laps, and Ricky was behind me. I think he crashed, and the track was gnarly today, and it was kind of easy, but the rules were really, really tough, and I think everybody had a hard time into it. And when I was leading, I was like a long ways away, and just ride smooth and try to finish the race like that. The track is very slippery, so it was easy to make a mistake. So I'm happy to be on top. Yamaha did a great job, and I did not have a great season last year, but I worked hard and with Jackie, and it's paid off, and I just want to continue like that.
Good job.
Thanks.
Those starts haven't necessarily been in the lead.
Our second round, as Vuillemin pulled off the win in the first round, but Ricky Carmichael, just how tough is Ricky Carmichael? And the rest here in San Diego, we're off and running. The power 8-hole shot goes to Kevin Windham, number 14, but it's Travis Pastrana taking the lead in the moves. Oh, he takes a giant leap onto the platform. LaRacco, Ferry, and then Ricky Carmichael. Going over each whoop, slowing down, Windham in 3rd, LaRacco in 4th, and still Carmichael in 5th, with Tim Ferry right behind him.
Well, Travis almost lost the lead right there. Vuillemin had a head of steam coming into the whoop section, and because of Lamson being down.
I can't recall one either. I can recall him coming up and challenging.
He's got to keep his cool right here. He believes in himself. He's got to just let Vuillemin do his thing and settle down.
Get a nice edge in that points lead over Carmichael, but chances are it won't stay the same. A 20-lap main event, 20 riders in the 250 field here in San Diego. Let's get a report on Steve Lamson. Davey Cobes?
Well, I just talked to Dr. John Bonner. Looks like a broken leg for Lamson. A broken leg.
Oh, Vuillemin just passes Travis Pastrana.
News is here Carmichael has gotten around LaRacco, broken free of him, and he's starting to reel in this battle right here between the Suzuki teammates. Carmichael is just blowing my mind tonight, Art. I cannot believe how strong he has come back from that hand injury.
Well, you've had a broken bone in the top of your hand before. Back in San Diego. This was what happened while we were away. Ricky Carmichael made the pass on Windham, and Ezra Lusk hit the dust.
Travis looked like that was that, but Travis has reached back, and he has started to close on Vuillemin. Vuillemin is not out of the woods yet, and when they get into the last riders, I expect that to tighten up even more. Travis is the kind of kid that will not give up. Vuillemin will look at this like, well, it's a long year and be willing to be safe. Travis will not. That kid wants to win so bad.
Results as they happen. Well, RC was 8 seconds behind Vuillemin. And then after they made the move, he lost a second to Vuillemin. But right now, look at this. LaRacco is starting to close on Carmichael.
Trying to ride like that. Jeremy has rebounded and made his way up through the field a little bit.
Here comes Lusk making the block pass. Lusk, after going down, trying to pick up points.
The handlebars alone is painful for the kid.
Let's check in with Davey Cobes.
Well, I know that hand is really bothering Ricky through the whoops. But I'll tell you another thing that's working against him. With the way that Vuillemin and Pastrana, and to an extent LaRacco, taller riders, are able to go through those whoops, they're pulling them on every lap through there. Carmichael looks good everywhere but the whoops. And the whoops, he looks like a different rider than he was in 2001. Other than some of the stuff he did in France, coming to America and riding Supercross, I mean, this is as tough as it gets. I would be very surprised, but to tell you the truth, who'd have thought he'd come out here and win the first 2 races in a row?
That's right. He battled John Dowd in '98 for the 125 championship, getting 3 wins, but that wasn't enough to beat John Dowd out of that title. Oh, look at there! LaRacco passing Ricky Carmichael. LaRacco fighting back for a second place, has now taken 3rd here in round 2.
That's a huge move. LaRacco had to do it. He had to show Ricky that when he should be able to beat him, that he can. It's like a fine wine, man. This guy is just getting better and better and stronger all the time.
David Vuillemin still with a lead on Pastrana. Vuillemin looking very smooth. Cuts through those moves beautifully. I'm pleased with Pastrana.
Yeah, compared to last year's event here for Travis, he crashed several.
The only first-time winner in 250 action in San Diego.
You can see how much Travis has closed the gap. Vuillemin's going to start feeling that. Vuillemin really hasn't had pressure to this point. And Travis doesn't have any either from LaRacco. He's still got a pretty good cushion with 1 lap to go. Jeremy won't quite get lapped this week, so he did a little better, but still not nearly the kind of race he needs to have his championship back.
White flag for Vuillemin. He won in San Diego 2000 and came back in Phoenix, Minneapolis, and New Orleans for 4 wins that year, finishing 2nd behind Jeremy McGrath in the 250 points race.
1 more lap, pulling out all the stops.
2 straight weeks, Jeremy McGrath has been lapped. David Vuillemin for the 2nd straight week is in the lead, but Travis Pastrana just might pull out all the stops here on the final lap.
Not afford 1 mistake. Damon Huffman right there, number 20, the only lap rider between him and the finish line.
Oh, Pastrana pulling up as David Vuillemin likes to look back at his competition. In fact, he hates tracks that he can't see the competition. David Vuillemin, his 2nd consecutive victory of the season. Momentum on his side with a 2nd consecutive win. slaps the palm of Travis Pastrana going by. Pastrana securing second.
Was pretty good considering.
I heard he was looking for at least top 5, and that's what he got in 4th. Our Honda results page. Vuillemin, Pastrana, LaRacco.
Well, in control of the series, your second straight win, fantastic.
Yeah, it was a tough race, you know, Travis kept me honest after 20 laps, and it was very tough, and I could pass him in the beginning in the whoops, and it was a tough race, I saw Ricky was third, and the guy was still the same, and I knew Travis was going to be dangerous for the win, and with the lappers and stuff, it was very difficult, but I'm really happy. The bikes worked great, and the track was really tough, and I'm really happy to win 2 races this year.
Good job. Congratulations.
All the way on the inside. It worked great for him. Here, he had the first pick to the gate, and he lined up pretty much in the middle, jammed up in that first corner. Even Ricky Carmichael, as fast as he is, I don't see him clawing his way through 10 or 15 guys.
Get back into the championship fight. This is your favorite.
Yeah, Travis, his lap times in his heat race, a full second faster than anyone else. And he was
Headaches. The 32nd board is about ready to go sideways. It is. We're about set for round number 3. 250 action from Anaheim. Kevin Windham, the Powerade hole shot winner.
his teammate Travis right back there in third in good position.
Michael Byrne, another great start. He's in second place.
Travis gets around him already, so here we go again. Suzuki teammates out front.
Looking very similar to that qualifying round. Moved into a spot right behind them.
This is perfect for Windham. They were trying to keep him relaxed. He has the same problem Jeremy has. He gets tight. He can't ride to his potential in the race because it means so much. If you can loosen up and get a flow going, you're a completely different rider out there. And here we are again. He's got his teammate behind him.
And 13 rounds in a season. He's known for a late start on the season, not this early.
He's holding his own against Travis.
Down the stretch last year, he had 4 podiums, including 2 second places.
Pressure from behind yet. No Carmichael, no Vuillemin, no McGrath, no Cret. So he's going to be patient. Plus, if you get a little closer to the rider in front of you, you start to get bruised. All that dirt coming off the rear wheel.
There's Carmichael, and he's behind Michael Byrne in 10th spot. He was in 10th.
Yeah, so much for that. Right from the beginning, that's what happens. You just go backwards in a hurry.
On the stopwatch, will give you an idea of the last laps of Windham and Carmichael. Now, Pastrana puts the challenge to Windham.
Here comes his favorite section. Watch him jump in. Couldn't do it that time.
Whoa.
Changes line. Everyone's been running the left. Watch Travis. The last lap, he ran the complete right side, and he made up time. May have decided that he was going to save that. He's been able to take completely different lines out there from Kevin out front and still keep with him in the same pace.
Travis told us that Vuillemin gave him a 20-lap riding lesson. I asked him what's the main thing he learned. He said, I was too patient. You watch, this isn't going to last long.
Too patient, he thought, huh? What a rebound after that opening round.
Inside down the whoops again. It looked good when he tried it. There he goes.
Pastrana in the whoops with Windham, his teammate. He's making it interesting. The crowd now starting to anticipate. Windham by the barn. Pastrana over the finish line jump. Way through a little bit more. This is a 20-lap main, it should read.
See, Travis's lines are starting to come together now. He experimented around. As soon as he noticed that Kevin was starting to struggle just a little bit, and they'll put themselves in first and second.
Pastrana, Windham, Roncada, the top 3. Then Roncada, Vuillemin, and Ramsey rounding out the top 5. Welcome back to an entirely different race in which we left you. David Vuillemin has taken the lead when Pastrana went down. And it's Vuillemin. LaRacco in second, Ramsey in third, Pastrana in fourth.
He's entering the 3 plateaus after the sand. He gets a little off timing there. He's lucky he didn't get hurt. He was able to bail out of that and save himself, but the bike is really bent.
As Pastrana, there you see him, battling through this race course. We've seen him in all kinds of adverse conditions with his bike just hang on. And here's our leader, David Vuillemin.
Well, this is what I wanted
for
to see.
3 in a row.
Look at LaRacco is not letting him off the hook.
Will Mike LaRacco win his first in a long time?
He can come from behind. He can be smart and ride through the wreckage. He's done that. So is LaRacco, but we've seen that from LaRacco for a decade. From Vuillemin, I have not seen it.
Can Vuillemin become the first rider for Yamaha ever to win the first 3 races of a season? That's including some great ones like Hannah. Here comes LaRacco, the challenge.
He's setting him up, just like Pastrana set up Windham.
The crowd in Vuillemin likes to know where he is. LaRacco, Vuillemin. LaRacco!
It's all of Mike LaRacco, who always comes through the pack. Mike is gone. He is so steady. He was mad at himself for last weekend, riding too cautious in the early part of the race. He threw it away. Here, he was not going to make that same mistake.
Ricky Carmichael has moved into the top 5.
He's closing down on Travis, who's just at the end of the whoops right there, and ahead of these guys in third still. And I'm very impressed, is Nathan Ramsey.
Into this race, 8 points behind Vuillemin in the championship race. He would gain 3 if it stays this way.
I'm impressed. I thought Vuillemin looked a little tired. He made some mistakes after LaRacco got around. It indicated to me that maybe he just had it. Second would be good enough, considering what kind of a main event this has been, but he still wants this win.
Jeremy McGrath, he's currently in 8th.
He's still riding tight. So Vuillemin is going to have to hope for some kind of a mistake, very uncharacteristic mistake from LaRacco to get this win.
Especially late in the race. It's great conditioning. The final lap for Mike LaRacco. He could become the 3rd rider to win on 3 brands.
Vuillemin has closed the gap just a little bit.
The crowd is anticipating a battle. You saw the blue streak behind LaRacco. Incredible.
And Travis Pastrana picks up 3rd.
LaRacco, the checkers. It's been a long time for Mike LaRacco since 1995. There's Vuillemin, and Pastrana got a 3rd. And got a 5th. And McGrath posted a 9th. Windham faded to 10th.
Ford said it best, you're back.
Yeah, all I can say is finally. I mean, I felt good for the last few years, but finally my Doc Martens Amazon Honda stands on top of the podium. That's great.
I know you didn't get another good start, but man, you fought your way up through. What did you think when you saw Pastrana land there?
Well, I was thinking good because I didn't know if I'd catch him. He got out and he's been riding really good, so I was glad to see he was up, but I was glad to see he was behind me.
And it tightens up the Honda point standings. Vuillemin only 5 points ahead of Mike LaRacco at this point.
Win, but you keep the hot streak going. Nice ride for second.
Yeah, I rode really good and got a little tight in the middle of the motos. Mike caught me and I had a time in the wolves. That's racing. I lost a little bit of time with one cut at the beginning of the race, but that's okay. I'll be back next week, maybe a little better.
Still have the points lead. And Travis, man, so close to that first win.
So close and yet so far away. Man, I was cruising out there. I felt good. The Suzuki's doing good. Kevin and I got, back out in front, so I felt really relaxed, and my big feet went and hit the neutral, so I flipped over the bars, but I'll be back for next weekend.
Some of the big stories happened this morning. One of them, Travis Pastrana, just this far away from his first 250 win, had his problems in practice, David.
He did, and I was looking right at it when it happened. He was going over the big triple jump before they entered the tunnel, and he landed with his leg out, which would have worked fine if the bike didn't wash out, but it did. Twisted his knee, and he's had ice on it and a smile ever since. But that's just Travis. He smiled. It takes a lot to slow this kid down, but it's his confidence that I'm concerned about.
Over the track.
The first rider that crosses the line will get $1,500.
It's going to be Travis Pastrana and Ricky Carmichael. These two guys have the most motivation.
And the main event underway. Jeremy McGrath, a good start. But leaping into the lead was number 24, Nathan Ramsey, Ron Cotta, and Lusk.
Unbelievable. There goes McGrath to the lead.
Jeremy McGrath makes a great pass to the corner. The fans are standing on their feet. They want to see this kid come through.
Number 24 right behind him, Fonseca and Vuillemin. Ricky Carmichael is in a very good position to move up.
See what McGrath can do. This is where he belongs. He's been back there getting bad starts, messing around with guys he doesn't normally race with. And the corner he took over the lead is the corner he got messed with in the heat race that sent him to the semi. The last two races. Feels like this is his night as well.
There's Ricky with Vuillemin right on his tail. Don't forget, it's a 20-lap race. The green mark next to Carmichael means he moved up on the last lap.
What a perfect situation for McGrath right now, who's been riding a little bit tight. He's got Fonseca behind him.
As he irritated it, and you're right, David, he hasn't raced in the last two. He wants to make a big impression. Jeremy McGrath, it's his first lead of the season, which is incredible. You know, this is the first time in his career that he hasn't been on the podium at least once in the first 3 rounds.
Behind him, starting with Carmichael, those guys don't have any patience at all. They need to get around this guy and take care of McGrath right now. They know they can.
Well, Jeremy's not pulling away. Fonseca, Carmichael, but then Vuillemin, Pastrana, Mercado, and Ramsey are all in good shape.
Move on it.
Jeremy McGrath, the most difficult time of his 13 years in the professional race, trying to break out of a slump. Oh! Out of sorts. Fonseca, that gave the break for Carmichael to move into second.
It was a good move by Fonseca to get in there and block past Jeremy, create something. Now look where he is. He's lost all those positions. It looks like even to Travis now.
Vuillemin's where he wants to be, right behind Carmichael.
Well, he's got the leaders in his sights. Isn't it amazing? Both Jeremy and Vuillemin having to ride that semi.
With this race, they're anticipating a big move by someone.
Oh, this is
at any minute.
Set up all during the offseason. McGrath versus Carmichael. We're getting it.
This was a race, of course, that Carmichael dominated and broke loose and took off. Wheel out there. Jeremy trying to hold on to the lead. Carmichael wisely goes in back.
Watch the whoop section as they cross the starting line over the tunnel. If Jeremy
behind Carmichael. Carmichael, clean pass. Pastrana moves into third. Vuillemin back to fourth. Whoa!
Saw that coming. It's a bummer to be out front when you got all that heat, because you got to take a little bit slower line to protect. Jeremy had to do it after the finish line jump. Ricky was all over it.
Battling it out now with Travis Pastrana, with Vuillemin just waiting in the wings. Here comes Travis. Travis makes the move. Travis into second place. Travis might be the only one in that group right now who might be able to catch RC.
I said it at the start. I felt like it was going to be Carmichael and Pastrana. They've been the fastest all week. There's just no denying the sheer speed that these guys have. They just get a decent start. They're going to find their way to the front.
We're in round 4. Can Carmichael hold on and keep that alive, or can Pastrana keep it away? Here's Vuillemin. Vuillemin and Fonseca in front of Jeremy McGrath.
Well, McGrath was way back in the pack. This time Jeremy had the opportunity getting out front. Couldn't hang on to it. And I had a feeling that if Ricky was able to get himself into the lead, having to pass a few guys, know he was faster, and hold on to this, he might be able to rattle off 4 or 5 wins in a row. And up through the pack, looks like just behind these guys, he may have moved around McGrath.
About a 4-second lead for Carmichael.
Nothing's safe with Travis Pastrana in second place.
Timing on this kind of track where you guys were talking about the fact that there's a lot of block passing stuff. LaRacco is able to move all the way up to fourth, and you know what? He's got time to get after Vuillemin in third.
Let's put a Honda stopwatch on the first and second place riders as we look at Carmichael's bike. It looks a little different to me now from the start of the season.
Well, I think they're riding it a little bit higher. It was so low to begin with. I don't think he had any suspension travel left. But I think they've made that adjustment.
Fonseca and Jeremy McGrath. His best finish, Fonseca, was a third, and that was the opening round as Jeremy McGrath makes the move. So American Honda going after the defending champion, Ricky Carmichael. 1 lap to go.
Vuillemin, who was closed back in.
Ricky Carmichael on his final lap. He's not celebrating anything right now. He'll look at the crowd, both hands on the bars. He will be tied with the French great Jean-Michel Bayle on the all-time Supercross win list. 8th place, the Checkers. A jubilant Ricky Carmichael, his first win of the season.
That's a load off his shoulders. He's fist pumping and looking like he just took over the points lead. But now that he's back on track, remember, he ran off 13 in a row last year, so when this guy gets hot, he's dangerous.
The comeback is on. Pastrana and Vuillemin make the podium with LaRacco, Ramsey, McGrath, Fonseca, Byrne, and Lusk.
Welcome back.
David, it feels great. Got a good start. Jeremy ran it in hard on the outside and got the whole shot, and I was second and didn't do an obstacle. A couple guys got by me and riding a little tight there at the beginning, and you know, everyone was coming in on everybody, and I was just trying to stay up, and once things panned out, I tell you, I got that Honda working good, and man, I'm so happy. Finally, it's just like, man, it's so good to get that first one under my belt, and everyone was riding great.
Like a very exciting race right there in the beginning.
Wow, it was amazing. People going everywhere, and Ron Cotta scared me a few times, but he went down instead of cleaning me out, so I got to thank him a little bit for that. But man, just rode a pretty smart race for me. I mean, I didn't fall or anything, and got out to a decent start with my Sobe Suzuki Michelin, so we'll see. It's another long season.
And you've had 3 consistent finishes on the podium 3 weeks in a row.
3 podiums, that was my goal coming in, but now I want to win, so it's good. There's a lot of great competition, though.
He's really showing us he belongs in the 250s. The points leader, Vuillemin, LaRacco on the extreme inside as we look to the back of Carmichael. Number 199, Travis Pastrana. It's sideways. We're set to go from the main event from Anaheim, California. Jeremy McGrath with a great start. He gets the parade hole shot. He looks so much more aggressive in qualifying.
McGrath.
And Ron Cotta is in front of Pastrana as well. The fans love it. Jeremy McGrath back out in front. Pastrana in third behind Ron Cotta.
Now Pastrana and Ron Cotta in their semi turned 54-second lap times. Pull away and relax for a change, but Ron Cotta's already starting to gain on him. They pulled away from Pastrana already.
There's Carmichael, number 4, Sebastian Waugh, and then Mike LaRacco with that bad wrist.
Pace that Travis has been able to ride. And you can see Carmichael has already worked his way into 4th. He got a lousy start, and he made the best of that first lap. He's in contention.
McGrath is keeping a good pace out front.
Shot for the game. And you just don't give up on the guy. He figures out a way to win. And I had a feeling that somewhere along the line, within a few weeks, Jeremy was going to get back to his ways. Looks like he's found that pace and that relaxation and the flow that we've seen so many times here at Anaheim. Yeah, he won the first 2, and then Carmichael stunned everyone, including McGrath. That was really the turning point. Carmichael got in Jeremy's head, and Jeremy didn't really have an answer for it, and that was the season right there.
One thing about the main event, though, it's 20 laps long. And for Carmichael,
there he is, front end washed out. We've seen that so many times tonight.
this track is really slippery. You got to watch yourself on it, as Ricky Carmichael, now in third, is trying to catch up in the 3rd round here at Anaheim. He got the whole shot. Ricky Carmichael started 9th. Carmichael, I don't think, was that far back at the beginning this time. But Carmichael, by the halfway mark, moved into 2nd and took the lead away from Jeremy with 4 laps to go, winning by 2.77 seconds. McGrath is going to try to prevent that from happening here.
Now, Stefan talked to him a little bit yesterday. He seemed confident. He's designing his own riding gear now. And he seems to be having a little bit more fun. And he was really aggressive last week. A couple guys not too happy about it. And he was...
There you see lap 8 of 20 laps of our main event from Anaheim.
Unbelievable the gap these guys now have over Windham, who's putting in a solid ride in fourth.
A rough start on the season for Ron Cotta, battling minor injuries. With number 4, Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael draws the cheers of the fans. Carmichael looks back. Ron Cotta trying to get the jump, but a beautiful move inside by Carmichael.
Slippery for all that block pass and stuff. And I thought Ron Cotta was going to get in there and mess with Ricky a little bit, make him mess. There he goes again.
He did. He got in there. He's battling it, but he stayed away from the contact. Battle for 4th place. Our points leader, Vuillemin, behind the second points leader, Mike LaRacco. He'd pick up 2 points if he stayed in front of Vuillemin in that points race. But the guys out front are going to pick up a lot more, especially Ricky Carmichael, who's very serious about getting back into the points race.
Such a difference in lines, too. Right now, watch what Ricky does at the end of this loop section. He's going to go wide.
Ricky Carmichael! Ron Cotta is not out of it in 3rd yet.
I think Jeremy got a little rattled the same way he did last week in the lead. He could feel it. The crowd got so loud, he just lost his focus and gave it away. He's going to stick a wheel in everywhere he can.
And Ron Cotta, who hasn't had better than a 7th place so far this year, is anxious to move up on that podium.
Vince Vaughn, my buddy Vince Vaughn, brought me down here because he's a big Supercross fan. So he said it's like a crazy thing. You got to go down, the energy, the excitement. And it's really exciting because when you're up there, obviously it looks pretty cool too. But when you're down here and you see how high these guys are getting, and I mean that just literally high.
Cross fan after this race, Ron Cotta is going at it with Jeremy McGrath for 2nd place. Bar to bar they go!
You know what? McGrath is going to let this kid have it. That's just ridiculous. I understand getting in there showing a wheel, but Ron Cotta is just annoying.
A 5-second lead on Stefan Ron Cotta in 2nd place.
Yeah, this whole weekend. You can see, first of all, Vuillemin got around the battle with LaRacco and Ramsey, which is riding brilliant lately. And he's starting to gain on McGrath a little bit. So McGrath's podium spot is not solid. See Vuillemin look over to see where Jeremy is.
Don't forget Las Vegas. Live pay-per-view once again for the finale. Vuillemin is so good through the loops. Into the triple. McGrath doesn't give ground, but Vuillemin accelerates better out of the corner.
You know, he's going to probably win this thing if he can stay up. He had a chance. He blew it.
The defending champion takes the checkers for the 2nd straight time.
Vuillemin was really close to Ron Cotta in 3rd. What a ride for him.
Ron Cotta and Vuillemin on the podium. Ron Cotta's first podium of the season, with LaRacco finishing in 4th.
RC, looks like you're rolling again, just like last year. You get a win in Phoenix, you come back to Anaheim, straight up battle with McGrath, you beat him again.
I tell you, man, it feels awesome, Davey. Man, it's to come back where I knocked myself out and hurt my hand to win. Man, that was awesome. I got a so-so start and rode smooth and started clicking away great last. I'm so happy.
Travis Pastrana right next to McGrath. Pastrana going with the bright gear that he used a few rounds ago. That gear, I think he felt good in it. He decided to go back to it here.
Go sideways. The 250s are underway here in Indianapolis, and the battle for the lead in the first turn. David Vuillemin, number 12, behind the pass minutes. Ricky Carmichael, number 4.
Already, Travis had to look over his shoulders. He knew Carmichael would get right in there and give him a front wheel.
Pastrana trying to take it on the inside, and he does. Number 199, Travis Pastrana has the lead. Pastrana's still a teenager. It's hard to believe.
This is where he had his 125 debut. Spent some time on the ground. That's been his problem lately. Already Carmichael getting around Vuillemin behind him. It closes a little bit on Pastrana. And Pastrana, this kid is not intimidating. Having number 4 or any number, even McGrath breathing down his neck, will not bother him. There you go. Look at that. Carmichael already on the rear wheel of Pastrana.
So it looked like Travis Pastrana was going to run away early and hide, but no.
Number 4, Ricky Carmichael, who won 13 races in a row last season, is right behind him. There he takes the lead, at least momentarily. Look at the battle between
Pastrana, he can come right back. He can raise his pace and not just ride comfortably. He can ride at whatever level it takes to get the win. He wants to win badly here. Ricky's coming off 2 of them. Second wouldn't be a disaster, but for Pastrana, he's got to win.
Thought for a moment that Pastrana was going to take the lead back, but there goes Carmichael. Pretty good top 3 here, don't you think? Carmichael, Pastrana, and Vuillemin.
Able to keep pace with him now and learn a little bit.
See that whoop section, gaining on it too, and then goes down to Pastrana right by Carmichael. Takes a look behind him when he's in the air.
He's always there. He's always giving it everything he's got. That's what makes him so exciting. You just can't take the camera off of him or you're going to miss something. Well, he blows his feet.
He's had a consistent mindset, though, since he's come on the scene. He rides on the edge the entire time, doesn't he?
He just gives it everything. And in Phoenix, at round 3, or 4 rather, he injured his knee terribly. It actually popped out of joint, went back in, he iced it, went out there and finished second. He was all over Carmichael for that second place. It may start to develop now as this battle for second becomes defensive and the pace slows, and that helps Pastrana. See if he can take advantage of it this time.
Vuillemin pressing on the inside, then he goes to the outside. 25, you and I talked about the difference in dirt, the difference in rush. Ricky Carmichael has been looking forward to coming back east. He's from Florida. He says he likes it back here. The dirt, the conditions, much better.
Yeah, actually the top 3, they all do. Roncado, I think, will be the first guy right there in 4th. Green number 21 that likes the hard pack. I think he does well in either condition. I think so. No, he did a backflip off of a ramp at about 80 miles an hour into the Grand Canyon before the season started. Then that wasn't enough. He went and drove rally cars. And some of us think that maybe if he stayed focused on Supercross only, he'd be better. But I just think this kid likes to do a lot of different things and have fun. Well, after winning the 2 rounds coming into this building, some people were starting to mumble the words 13 in a row. Yeah. That's how many races remain. He could do that again. He certainly has his chance.
It's the exact same situation. He won his first race last year in Phoenix, started his first of the streak, and guess what? That was his first win this year, and there goes Ricky Carmichael, and down goes Pastrana. He's off his bike.
I don't believe it. Ricky actually pushed. That was smart by Ricky. He gave one more little launch that knocked Pastrana over. Now all he's got to deal with is Vuillemin's rhythm to the section that time. Like I said, Ricky'd be all over him at the end. Now, Ricky didn't give him that final nudge. I thought that was pretty much tipped over on his own. You'd think with those long legs he'd be able to save that, but I think he was caught by surprise. Getting rammed like that.
And Ricky Carmichael has the lead over David Vuillemin. Carmichael trying to win for the 3rd time in a row on the series this season. Jeremy McGrath, there he is, number 2, just ahead of Travis Pastrana in 7th and 8th places respectively.
Vuillemin is setting Ricky up for something. He's just been back there watching the whole deal, going, okay, I see he's doing this, he's doing that there. Ricky had to cover that inside line that time. Very smart. He could hear Vuillemin was using that line the last few laps. But now he's starting to think about what Vuillemin is doing.
David Vuillemin, who won the first 2 races of the year after being out much of last year with a rib injury. He had the twisted knee earlier this season. He's been on the podium every race so far.
And he's really making Ricky ride perfect. A lot of guys questioning. There's Chad Watts, Ricky's mechanic, saying, go. Still finish on the podium. Ricky with a 25th, a pair of 4ths, and a couple of wins. A lot more inconsistent.
Remember, Carmichael crashed in that first race of the year, which was on ABC Sports out in Anaheim. Come back strong, though, the last couple of weeks. Looking for his 3rd win in a row. 50s this year, other than these 2 riders here.
Now, Vuillemin is doing the right thing right here. He's going as hard as he can, but it looks like he's not trying everything. He's putting the pressure on Ricky. When he gets 2 laps to go, lost track of the race, how much time they had left. And sometimes that happens to the riders.
And Vuillemin has the lead. They went out of our picture for a moment, and the lead changed hands. David Vuillemin in that turn takes the lead from Carmichael.
He was going to do something, and he had that inside set up. He ran it up in there a couple of times. I'm surprised Ricky left the door open again because he knew he'd seen that blue front fender a couple times before.
David Vuillemin, the 24-year-old from France. He corner, and here he is. David Vuillemin wins for the 3rd time this season. Forget about any news.
Invasion was very felt.
So an Australian wins the 125 main event for the 3rd time on the season. Ricky Carmichael passed in the last lap, and he's got to settle for 2nd.
What an incredible finish. Tell us about that pass. How long were you setting that up for?
I don't know if you saw on TV, but I was waiting every lap. He was going outside, and I saw I could pass inside. I had trouble in the rhythm section over there, and Ricky was doing it every lap, and I lost a little bit of time over there. And after I caught up in the woods, he did some mistakes, and no, it was a great race. My Yamaha is working really good, and that's good for the confidence, you know. I lost 20 laps with the best rider in the world. That's very good.
RC looked bummed. What happened on that last lap?
David got by me. I made a stupid mistake. He was sizing me up there the whole time, and you know, I went out wide there, and he got underneath me. He rode a great race. He was on my tail the whole time, and me and Travis had a confrontation down there. I was on his heels there, and he made a mistake and then still tried to dive on the inside, and I was already there, and he ended up going down. But man, I'll tell you, it was a tough race. My left arm was pumped up quite a bit, and just didn't have that little bit extra to push it.
His case, there he is going through his pre-race routine. He does something amazing, and I think Brooks was down there expecting Jeremy.
The whole shot winner has never won that race this year. It's going to be Sebastian Tortelli, the Powerade whole shot winner this time. Early going. LaRacco with a great start from the outside.
Finally.
My goodness, he's in 6th place.
He's ahead of Carmichael, Windham, and Pastrana, and Vuillemin. All those guys buried the heavyweights. Pastrana, Vuillemin, and Carmichael all behind him.
Carmichael in 7th. Pastrana's right behind him. Oh, this could be a great one. Tortelli's first race of the season. Under injury, so serious that a reconstruction had to take place.
They haven't been around each other since, so I expect, since you got to be aggressive here, this could get interesting. If Jeremy goes wide in that corner before the whoops, look at the battle for the lead.
Fonseca taking on Tortelli. There goes McGrath as well. McGrath tucking into 3rd, battling with Tortelli coming through the tunnel. Oh, it's a dangerous flat. He railed it through that tunnel. Jeremy McGrath, the block pass, a clean one. And the crowd goes crazy. This is his house.
This has been the best week for Jeremy. Coming into this race, he feels the best. I have a feeling that last week was the first race so far this season. We got a 40. He's starting to run it in there.
Let's go to Davey.
Guys, Mike LaRacco just walked past me, and Dr. John Bonner, he is holding his right wrist, and it doesn't look good. Back in the corner at the end of the whoops, he tangled with Travis Pastrana. I honestly can't tell you whose fault it was, but LaRacco's really complaining about his wrist, and he went straight to the doctor. Check it out, guys. Travis Pastrana, 1 lap after crash with Mike LaRacco. You see LaRacco's mechanic, Paul DeLaurier, came over to complain. Travis crashed all by himself, came all the way over to the Parts Unlimited banner. Pastrana is also out of this main event. 2 different crashes for Travis on 2 different laps, same whoop section.
Right behind Jeremy McGrath as we approach the halfway mark.
The longer Fonseca can stay in 2nd, the better it is for Jeremy. As Carmichael possesses that incredible speed to be able to close the gap on Jeremy and make him tight. So much energy. Here comes LaRacco.
Here comes LaRacco, and he's still mad.
One of the oldest guys and one of the youngest. McGrath just blew it out front. McGrath jumping into this corner. Oh, he has to completely go do a donut. Wait for these guys to go by. That's been a tricky section.
Vuillemin, the points leader, is in 6th. With Rancada in front of him, and Ezra Lusk in 4th. McGrath now in 3rd, Fonseca in 2nd to Ricky Carmichael. A tough break for Jeremy McGrath. 3-time winner on the season. Vuillemin getting by Rancada.
Yeah, he finally made his move stick on Rancada, and he actually parked in the corner just a little bit just to make sure, like, hey, Stefan, okay, cut back under me one more time. It's going to be you and me out back.
As well as he puts on a show for the fans right now. The checkers are waving. And it's Ricky Carmichael getting his 18th career win, his 3rd win of the season. 5 points on the points leader. That would be 23 points now, separating Vuillemin from Ricky Carmichael.
Amazing turn of events. Ricky had a chance to pick up 7 points here on Vuillemin, but Vuillemin came back. I'm going to have to be the one to break the bad news to him, but right now, RC, what a fantastic ride that was. A lot of traffic, a lot going on out there. You came through, got yourself a win.
I tell you, Davey, it feels great, man. Woo! I don't know what to say, man. I'm so happy. I got to chip away at those points. That was a great race for me, and man, I don't know. I was just trying to do my own thing.
Important for RC. Ricky Carmichael getting the full 25 points. Fonseca on the podium again. And Roncada is 3rd. The Honda point standings. David Vuillemin now with a 23-point lead on Ricky Carmichael at the end of heat number 2. Watch what happened.
This was Vuillemin, just a retaliation from the block pass that Roncada put on him in the beginning. It wasn't that bad, but Roncada didn't like it. He rode up to say, hey, what was that for? And Vuillemin goes, hey, I'll tell you what that was for, man. I got 500 grand on the line tonight. I got the title in my hip pocket if I can stay away from you.
Get the 1,500. Don't forget, a whole shooter has not won a race this year. We're ready to go for the main event from Atlanta, Georgia. A great start by number 4, Carmichael. Carmichael gets the Powerade Whole Shot Award.
Vuillemin tried to get in there and put a little bump on Pastrana to get right up into second right away, and it ruined his timing, and then Fonseca slipped in there.
Now the key is Pastrana's been making a few mistakes right there. Can Carmichael pull away and make it a runaway here in Atlanta? Now Ricky Carmichael with David Vuillemin back in 3rd. Could this be Vuillemin's 8th straight podium? The 3 are pulling away from Jeremy McGrath.
Lusk got tangled. Looked like maybe on the ground there. That's Fonseca. Yeah, it is. 24. It was in contention here. He had the speed.
Ezra looked so good in qualifying, too.
Vuillemin behind Pastrana right here. There he is. He just went over the triple at the approach of this loop section and looked behind him, and it's a huge gap back to McGrath.
Is he playing it cool? Like a last lap pass, maybe? We've seen already this year.
It is 5 points. That'll get it down underneath 20, and then Vuillemin might have to start racing a little bit different, worrying about not losing this title instead of doing what's worked so well for him. Even if he just stays where he's at and he's got no pressure.
David, you might correct me on this. Will race for the win if he's in good position, but he goes for the podium otherwise.
Well, he's not out of this by any means. He's staying pretty close to these guys. But he's going to wait till about halfway and see what happens.
He's already got 2 second-place finishes along with a 3rd. Let's go to Davey down the trackside.
Guys, let me give you an indication of how bad Travis felt earlier today. For the first time that I can remember, he did not do an autograph session. Travis, always a fan favorite. Also, when they did the opening ceremonies, he did not participate in the parade lap. His mom said he was trying to save every ounce of energy that he had for this 20-lap main event.
Travis goes off the track.
Travis is off the track, and he's riding.
You know what? I think he has taken himself out of this event. I saw him starting to look a little shaky. I think he has taken himself out of this race before he becomes a danger to himself or, more importantly, others. Ricky section full of ruts. Ricky not afraid to land with one hand on the bar.
Vuillemin a faster lap time in the last lap than Ricky Carmichael. He's trying to catch up. They're in 2nd place. Boy, would that be something if we could get a 1-against-1 duel.
Only 3 points now in terms of the championship. It looks like if he can't hang on to it, that Vans Triple Crown money's gone. But I think the title is probably more important. Jeremy doing a good job here. It'll be a while before people warm up to him, but they will.
Celebrating number 4, looking at the checkered flag, his 19th career victory, his 4th of the year, Ricky Carmichael. He's now tied with Damon Bradshaw for 5th on the all-time 250 Supercross win list. And 3rd, McGrath's first podium since round 16, May 5th, last year, where he was 2nd in Las Vegas. McGrath on the podium. That'll be a great podium. I can hardly wait. Tortelli. Roncada.
Himself another little winning streak started, 2 in a row, and what a dominating performance.
Well, I tell you, Davey, I'd like to think so. the Honda was working good. The dumb-up tires were hooking up, man. I don't know, something was just clicking for me today. I don't know if it's being in this dome. I really like it, but, man, I am so happy. You know, I need to keep winning, and I'll be glad to go to Daytona with 2 wins under my belt, definitely.
Ride, but Carmichael got just a few more points on you.
Yeah, Ricky rode a great race, and he got a shot, and you know, I think it was a little bit faster tonight, and you know, to save a second place for me tonight is very good, and no championship is still very long, and I think it's going to be very tough for the nerves, and you know, I'm ready for it. So I just need to be in front of Ricky a few more times.
It's good to have you on the box again.
It's been a long drought. Thanks a lot, Davey. It's first of all, I'd like to thank my team. Bud Light Yamaha has really been behind me. My mom, my dad, my sister, my trainer Todd, Larry especially, Brian, Skip, everyone at Team Yamaha. You know, they've been behind me, and I've had a rough couple months here, and I'm very happy to be up here.
Always a pleasure to have you up here, Jerry.
Thanks a lot, Dave.